everyone, so today's card is going to be playing around with some masking techniques, basically using some brown craft spray and this sequin punch out ribbon, which you can buy really cheaply from your local craft store. And I've just made like a little masking thing here by attaching the ribbon to a bit of scrap paper. And I'm just going to put a bit of sellotape down each side so that I can hold the mask where I want it to be placed on the card. And then I'm placing it inside a box to use for spraying, which you can see I've already used before a few times. So put the card down, and then I place the little masking thing that I've made over the top, and just make sure that that's pressed right down onto it, so it doesn't move around while I'm spraying. And then just really lightly spray it using any brand of craft spray that you can find, and just kind of spritz it on really gently. I think I put a bit too much on here. You actually think you need more than you need to have a good effect, but it worked okay. But I think if I did it again I would use slightly less. And you can see it's worked all right there. This is a little cutout piece that I made using my own template. However, I have since invested in the Nestabilities dies for this, because I think they're just a lot easier to work with. It did take me quite a while to cut this out, and I'm just going around putting on some faux stitching there. And I wanted to write happy birthday on this little bit as well, and I'll show you that in a little while. I'm just going to go around the edges here with a bit of brown ink, just to ink it up and give it a bit of lift off the page. So this stamp wasn't exactly the right shape that I wanted, so again I'm using another bit of masking because I want all of the lines to be exactly the same length. So I'm just putting this bit of paper over while I ink the stamp up, and I inked it up just as you normally would, and just kind of ignoring the bit of paper. And then when you finish inking up, just move the bit of paper away, and the only bit of the stamp that's going to ink is the bit that's already got the ink on, obviously. So you can change your stamp into whatever you want. So here I'm just making my own little Prima flowers. I've got this design template, and I've cut it out previously, and now I'm going to draw around all the individual leaves, the petals on the flower. You could have done this one of two ways. I did it another way later on in the video because I've done two flowers, but you know, either way works. So just cut around it, each individual leaf, and then depending on how you've cut around it, you might have to rub off the pencil markings. I cut just inside them here just so I wouldn't have to bother, but you know, it's entirely up to you how you do that. I often find when cutting flowers out, it's best to cut out the top rounded bit of each petal first, and then to go and cut down into the individual V shapes afterwards. So this is just a little mouse mat I'm using anyway, and I want to make the flower a bit more 3D, so I've turned the flower over and I'm rubbing on it. Basically it just kind of bends the paper and gives each petal a lift, and then I turn it over and I'm doing the same in the centre of the flower to give that distinctive Prima flower that you get when you buy Prima flowers from the shops. So here I'm just going to put a bit of removable adhesive on the flower design that I've already printed out on some scrap paper. This is the other way of doing it. Instead of drawing around it with your pencil, you just stick this on with your removable adhesive and then cut around the flower that's printed out on your scrap bit of paper, which obviously cuts out the flower underneath it on the paper that you want. And again, I've just done that by cutting around the very tops of the leaves, I keep calling them leaves, the tops of the petals, and then cutting down into the V shapes of each one later. There's probably lots of different ways to do it. I just find this the easiest for me. Now I'm just pulling off the bit of scrap paper, and because you've put the removable adhesive on the scrap paper, it will come off with the scrap paper. Whatever you put the adhesive on is what it sticks to, and you can rub it off later and reuse that template if you wish, but I've just put it to one side for the purpose of this video. So again, I'm just going to use my my embossing tool here, and it's really quick. You know, you don't have to be particularly precious about it either. You just like give it a good scribble and then again in the centre. Don't be too hard on it because you can rip the paper if it's not good quality paper, or card, whatever. So here I'm just writing happy birthday. I used a silver marker pen, and I actually didn't like the effect that I got with it, but for this particular card I didn't think it was appropriate. I should have used just a black marker pen or something, or even just stamped it with something else, I don't know, but it was okay, so I left it. These things are all learning curves. So here I'm just using a brad just to stick this flower together, and I want the smaller one on top of the larger one, obviously, and I need to punch a hole in the middle of both flowers to enable me to put the brad in the centre. So I'm just choosing the right size hole with my crocodile. I just use the smaller one, and just punching these holes in the middle. I really like my crocodile. I did consider getting the crocodile big bite, crocodile 2, whatever it is, but I just thought they looked too big to manhandle, and so I just went with buying the little crocodile, and I've had no trouble with it. You know, it's fine. It does everything I need because I don't really scrapbook, so for a card that's good enough. And I'm just kind of teasing the petals out with my fingertips here just to make sure they're exactly the right shape that I want them. This is just in addition to the embossing tool on the back of that mouse pad that I did earlier, just to get the right shape that I need. And again, just pushing it in the middle to give the flower a bit of depth. Now I could have put the brad all the way through the card and had the flower stuck to the card using the actual brad itself, but I didn't want to. I just stuck it on with a glue dot in the end. So here I'm just putting a ribbon on. I'm using Christina Werner's technique of cutting a slot in the side of the card, which I think is a really good idea. I used to just cut literally down the spine with my craft knife, but I think it gets a better sit with the ribbon if you cut into the card slightly, because the ribbon doesn't stick out so much then on the spine of the card. But you know, either way, it makes no difference. Whatever works for you. I'm just tying a quick knot in here. So then I couldn't think, well, maybe I should put this at an angle, maybe I should have this sort of perpendicular. I wasn't sure. In the end I chose to go slightly over the ribbon and keep it perpendicular to the card. Just put a few 3D stickers on here. I love using dimensionals. I don't often make a card without them, which I'm sure you've noticed. So here we go, just making the final decision on which angle, and then I went for just keeping it straight. And I think I put a good few glue dots on this flower because these die cuts with the view papers are really good quality, and they're quite hefty. So yeah, it wasn't a light flower, so I wanted to make sure it stuck and stayed still. Anyway, that's the garden. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.